This is the second to last box. I've got about 4,000 sheets to go and 1 day in which to do it. So it truly is the final countdown. Oh, look at that. Jen Marker was the very first commenter, as well as being our lead moderator, our managing mod. It's nice to see you all. Thanks for being here. It's our second to last ever signing stream. Ever? No, just until I write another book. But that will probably be a few years. Probably be, if I had to guess, 2030. If I were a better, I would say 2029 or 2030. I'd like it to be sooner, but usually takes me at least 3 years. And unlike when I finished Everything is Tuberculosis, I don't have a half-finished novel sitting in a drawer begging to be resurrected. So I'll miss these signing streams. Thank you for being here. Thanks for being part of this strangeness. I'll actually do a signing stream. I guess actually that's not true because I've got to sign the UK editions, the Australian editions, and I've got to go to the warehouse and sign 30,000 copies of printed books in August. So there will be more streams. And then there's the tour streams and there's the Red Dead Redemption 2 streams, etc. But yeah, come see me on tour, HollywoodEndingBook.com. Tulsa, Indianapolis, and Salt Lake City have all sold out, but the other 17 spots have tickets available. Toronto's going to sell out today. A couple others are near selling out. Pittsburgh is pretty close. But and I think Winston-Salem, North Carolina might have sold out, or it's close to anyway. But tickets are still available in lots of places. If you live in the US, I'd love to see you on tour. It'd be really fun. I'm looking forward to this, man. Looking forward to this tour. It's, like I said, going to be the last one for a while. I didn't go on tour between 2017 and 2025. I didn't go on tour at all, and I missed it. Hank and I did a few shows together around the country, but not as much as I would have liked. So it'll be really nice to be back in the swing of it, seeing Nerdfighteria exist in real life. It's just the best feeling. Someone just made fun of me for having my shoes on inside, which fair enough. I'll take off my shoes. I don't mean to distress you. There you go. There's some awesome socks for you. I made a Instagram and TikTok video today about signing. That's the beginning of what will become a Vlogbrothers video on Tuesday, I think, about signing and why I do it and what it feels like to do it. But I'm not going to miss signing my name over and over again. 85,000 was a good number, but I don't in any way regret it. Like last time when I was finishing, I was in so much pain that I was just miserable because my shoulder hurt so much. This time I feel pretty good. Like my elbow hurts, my shoulder hurts, but I feel pretty good on the whole. And so I won't miss it. I feel like I've done enough, but you know, and I've done enough that all the pre-orders are going to be signed. Everyone in the US and Canada anyway who wants a signed pre-order will get one. And that's enough. You don't have to sign 250,000 books just because they're out there to sign. I did that with the Anthropocene Reviewed, and it really was difficult. So 85,000 is a good number. Then I'm going to sign 5,000 for the UK and Australia. Then I'm going to sign 30,000 more in the warehouse in Crawfordsville, Indiana. Then I'll be at 120, which means that I'll have 180 to go to get to 1,000,000. So basically, if I split that over 2 books, 90,000 a book, that feels doable. And then I'll, as far as I know, be the first person who ever signed 1,000,000 books, which is pretty cool. That's assuming I can keep an audience for the next 7 or 8 years, which is not a guarantee, but hopefully I can. Also that I keep my health, don't die, etc. Somebody just became a Wimbly Wombly co-owner, but I can't tell who. All right, I'm going to zoom in on the chat. Pen10106 just became a Wimbly Wombly co-owner. Thank you so much. Even better than Sanderson. Everybody's always talking about Sanderson. Listen, Sanderson is a better writer than I am. He's far more productive than I am, etc., etc. But I am a much better signer than he is. Sanderson is not even in the realm of close to me. Sanderson is not anywhere near 1,000,000 copies. Sanderson will sign like 30,000 copies, and everybody will be like, oh my God, what a hero. And meanwhile, I'm over here signing them by the 6 digits. Sorry to go off on my rant about how much more signing I do than Sanderson, but I do. He's great. He's great. I like him a lot. Seems like a lovely man. How do we get one of the 5,000 UK copies? I don't know yet. I wish I knew. It's frustrating to me that I don't know, but I don't know yet. So. Please not Brooklyn. It's hard to traverse. Well, it'll be in Brooklyn. I can't control that. I actually can't control really anything about the tour because it's not about me. It's about the needs of my publisher and the bookstores that my publisher works with. And so if like they had a big event 2 months ago with X bookstore, that means they can't work with X bookstore again. They have to work with Y bookstore. So I'm sorry it'll be in Brooklyn. I don't know where it'll be yet. When I know and tickets are available, I will certainly let you know. Do I like my publisher? Well, I've had the same publisher for my entire career since 2003 when I signed my first book deal. And it's hard for me to imagine life without my publisher. My editor, Julie Strauss-Gable, has edited all of my books, both fiction and nonfiction, both for kids and for adults. And I can't imagine any other way, really. I don't know any other way. I don't really want to know any other way. I like having all my books at the same publishing house. It means a lot to me that I have relationships that are in many cases like 25 years old, and where I try to be very loyal in my professional life, loyal to my to the people who have supported my work, and so I think it's very important to stay with them, is what I think. Yeah. So I've been lucky. I mean, almost nobody gets to work with the same editor their whole career. Almost nobody gets to stay at the same publisher. And I've been really lucky. I think we both figured out ways to make it work. And in general, it's been really, really good. So I'm grateful. Yeah. I'm looking forward to Madison. It's weird that Madison isn't ticketed, and so people have to show up early, but hopefully there will be plenty of seats for everyone who wants to come. One is a goalie who looked massively strong last week. Another is a defender with a ton. That defender looks great. But thank you for the update, Phoebe. I saw that we signed 2 players, but I didn't have the kind of their profiles of them. So yeah, that's exciting. How long did it take you to find them as your publisher in the first place? Well, when I finished the 4th draft of my book, Looking for Alaska, I submitted it to publishers around New York, and I didn't have an agent or anything. Back then, you didn't need an agent as much as you do now. And about 6 months later, I got a phone call from somebody at Dutton Children's Books who wanted to publish Looking for Alaska. And that's how it started. So I got a number of rejections as well. And a number of people just never read the book. Like I could have been published at a different publishing house if people have read the book, maybe. But I got some rejections, some no responses, and one yes. And that yes became the publisher. Back then it was just Penguin. That was part of Dutton. Dutton was part of Penguin, and then it became Penguin Random House, and now it's Penguin Random House. What is everyone's opinion on knitting blankets as gifts for people who just had a baby? Well, I have to tell you that my mentor, Eileen Cooper, who got that book, Looking for Alaska, published and rewrote it with me 3 different times, and who is really single-handedly responsible for the fact that I have a career writing books today. She made baby blankets for both of our kids, and Henry lost his years ago when he was like 4 at a hotel, but Alice still has hers. And we treasure it so much. So I'm all for it. I think it's a lovely gift. And I think it's also a way of saying that you were thinking of them as they went through the process. Do I ever want to play Red Dead Redemption 2 and not stream it? No, not really. No, I only think of it as a streaming exercise. I'm pretty busy at the moment, so I don't have a ton of extra time to play video games. I wish I did. I miss playing video games. Like I used to play FIFA for fun all the time, and I would play Red Dead Redemption 2 for fun. It's a very fun game, but I just am super overwhelmed at the moment. Like every minute I'm not doing this or working on, other stuff for my various jobs, I'm working on Smush. Has the next book been started? No, not really. I always have a few ideas that I'm working on. Hollywood Ending was an idea that I was working on for 7 or 8 years before it really became a book. And so there are ideas I'm working on. There's stuff I'm thinking about. There's stuff I'm reading about, but nothing real, nothing important yet. But hopefully it'll emerge over time. I wrote a whole novel while I was writing Hollywood Ending, but I used so much of that novel in Hollywood Ending that I don't think there's anything left to use. Like this happens to me a lot where I write a book and go back to it, and unfortunately it's just not there. There's not enough there to turn it into a real book. And so I wrote this book. Some of you have heard the first few chapters, actually, called The Trauma Plot, about a novelist who's struggling to write a second novel and gets caught up in like a corporate espionage scheme. And I might go back to that at some point, but I borrowed a lot of what was best about it for Hollywood Ending, so I might not too. The audio is glitching for me. Oh no. Well, the audio's been fine for Jen. Yeah, I know a lot of people would read books that I'm not like satisfied with. I know that I could, sell books and everything, but I don't really want to. Like I only have one chance at having this career, and I only want to publish stuff I'm really proud of. Like I already do a Vlogbrothers video every Tuesday, and some weeks those are videos I'm not particularly proud of, but I don't really want to publish a book I'm not proud of. Like that's something that I've only done 8 times. I still like most of those books. I don't like all of them, but I like most of them. And I really want to feel that way about my work, that like, even when I've grown out of it and I wouldn't, write it again, I want to be proud of it and feel like it was the best book I could write at that time. Well, Maggie, I can't really talk about what books I don't like anymore because people still like those books, and I don't want to harm their opinion of those books by saying, oh, the author doesn't like them, like feel an obligation to people who like my work not to crap on it too much. So I try to keep that private. I like that you call it H comma E, Allison. That's the best shortening I've seen so far. I think we've now just made it canon that it's called H comma E. I do not have details on a New York date yet. I'm really sorry. I'm hoping that I will by next week. I also wish I was going to the Pacific Northwest, but because I went there on the Everything is Tuberculosis tour last year, they felt like they didn't want me to go there again. And it's a bummer for me, but I get it. They're trying to make sure that they share the love with other bookstores and other communities. Will I do more things like Last Meal to promote the book? I don't know. I mean, I really enjoyed Last Meal. I would have done Last Meal. I didn't need something to promote to do Last Meal, but I've always wanted to do Hot Ones, but I feel like they're way too big for me now. They've got all the proper celebrities now. I mean, I'm sure Hot Ones is uncomfortable, but I make my own family hot sauce every year with my mother, and like, it's not any hotter than that. So, yeah, I think I could get through it. What kind of peppers do we grow for it? We grow a wide variety of peppers, everything from habaneros to regular jalapenos to sweet peppers. We put in some mildly spicy peppers, but then we also put in like Carolina Reapers and stuff. Yeah, it'd be fun to be on Good Mythical Morning again. I mean, Rhett and Link are two people I've admired for almost 20 years now, and think very highly of them, and really wish them well in their work. You know, we started out together back in 2007. I mean, I think they were making videos in 2006, but they started to get a broad audience in 2007. It's been incredible to see what they've done with their community over the years. Mythical's on Netflix now? I don't think I knew that. It's great. Good for them. Does your publisher give you media training? They sure do. They sure do. I write a lot about media training in Hollywood Ending. No spoilers, but there's a fair amount of media training in it, and definitely had a lot of media training. So I think not all authors get media training, but I've been lucky that, you know, because I'm doing things with a lot of different press outlets, it makes sense to have media training. And I have an amazing publicist, Elise Marshall Pfeiffer. The book is dedicated to Elise, actually, because I don't think that I would have survived those heady years of 2013 to 2016 without her. My hand's holding up fine. My shoulder hurts. I have arthritis in my shoulder, and both my shoulders hurt actually, because so my right hand does the signing, but my left hand does this motion. Oh, I need to plug in my computer. Hold on. That's why the sound is glitchy, actually. Give me a second. I'll be right back. All right, hold on. We're almost done here. Okay. So now less than 4,000 to go. Less than 4,000 to go. Feeling good. Feeling good. I've got 6 boxes left to fill, so I know what's in front of me box-wise. And yeah, see you in Tucson. They saw Arthur running people over and shooting innocents and ordered up some media training. Yeah, poor Arthur has committed a lot of crimes, even though they're not in line with his moral values. And I do worry about his eternal soul a little bit. But, you know, forgiveness is available to all of us, even unto that bourne from which no one returns. Okay. Oh, thanks for reading Looking for Alaska. Okay, I gotta lock in. I got a big stack here. All right, two questions. How many more signatures do you need to sign? About 3,000. Someone asked if my perception of Bill Gates has changed. It certainly has. I mean, I think in general, putting aside my personal perception, which isn't particularly important, I think, I have a different theory of change than the Gates Foundation, and I might be wrong. I often have been wrong, but they invest a lot in sort of breakthrough technologies and trying to get new technologies to market. And I think some of that can be very effective, but like we've seen with lenacapavir, this incredible HIV preventative medicine, or with bedaquiline in the world of TB, like sometimes getting those breakthrough medications doesn't matter that much if you can't actually get them to people. And so I believe in investing now with existing technologies and strengthening systems and trying to directly address poverty through redistributing resources rather than just through technology. So yeah, I think that is something that's emerged in the last 10 years for me. Kind of love that scratchy rhythm of signing. I love it too, man. I had a friend come over recently, and I was signing while we were watching football together, and she said, "You're like a katydid. You just want to hear the sound of your wings." And I thought that was so beautiful. I am like a katydid. I just want to hear the sound of signing. Yeah, I mean, like the great scientist Peter Mugeni said, the cure is where the disease is not, and the disease is where the cure is not. And it's true, man. It's so frustrating. Like, I was just on Capitol Hill for a day talking to senators and congresspeople in their offices about a bunch of stuff that's going on in the global health sphere in the US government. And it's a mix of like hopeful in the sense that, people, you can make a difference. Like advocacy does matter, especially when it comes to governments. But it's really frustrating, like a lot of times as well, because people don't want to, a lot of people are like, well, this isn't a priority for my constituents. And I get that, but I think that one of the things that, one of the good uses of US resources, and they aren't all good, God knows, but one of the good use of US resources is spending 0.8 of 1 penny of our dollar on, trying to improve global health and education outcomes. I think that's been a pretty damn good investment too. I mean, PEPFAR saved a lot of lives. The Global Fund saved a lot of lives. And, it seems like the statistics aren't out yet. I'm just hearing rumors, so I don't want to spread rumors, but it seems like this is going to be the first year in the last 85 years, or last year will be the first year in the last 85 years where the number of kids who dies every year goes up. And that's just devastating, man. It's so frustrating. It's so needless. Yes, all the politicians I spoke to were actually alive. I spoke to a number of living individuals. I did not, interestingly, meet with Mitch McConnell, but I spoke to a lot of people. Yeah, I just don't believe that Congress is actually following the will of the people right now. And also the executive branch is not following the will of Congress. So we have two issues. Oh, we laugh to keep from crying. Anyway. I wish there was time for Crash Course Literature to be a never-ending series. I would too. I love making Crash Course Literature. And I think Crash Course is probably the most important work I've ever done. And so I need to keep doing it. I am participating in Crash Course English Language Arts that we're filming soon. So I'm not out of the Crash Course business, and I intend to stay in it as long as they'll let me. But I also think it makes sense to hand over the reins to, hosts who are younger and closer in age and experience level to students today and understand the needs of students today in a way that I don't. So maybe have experience in classrooms or with curriculum development, all that stuff. So I think that we're finding a good balance, hopefully. Oh, hey, Untapped Inkwell. Good to see you. Thanks for being here. I'm gonna have to switch pens soon. This green pen is beginning to die. I feel like, and maybe this is like a conspiracy theory, and I know that I'm more vulnerable to conspiratorial thinking because of the time I spend on the internet, but I feel like green pens don't last as long as they used to. I really do. And I use more green Sharpies than almost anyone. So I feel like I'm kind of have a little bit of expertise in this area, and I really don't feel like they last as long as they used to. Tatiana is here from Birmingham, Alabama, where I went to high school. Tatiana, make sure to come see me on tour in Birmingham. I'm excited to be there. HollywoodEndingBook.com. So excited to be visiting Birmingham. It's been so long since I was in Birmingham. It's only been a year, but that's a long time for me because my in-laws still live there. So my mom, my mother-in-law, and my father-in-law still live most of the year in Birmingham. And then I have a ton of friends there because I went to high school there, and a lot of my friends still live there. And so I love going back. I'm really excited to come back. Who have I got in the final tomorrow? I don't know. I don't really have a rooting interest, to be honest with you. I'm just rooting for a good game. The teams I was going to root for are out of the tournament: France, England, Norway, Cape Verde, United States, Mexico. So, either way, it'll be great. It'll be great to see, the greatest player ever played the game win his second World Cup, or it'll be great to see France win Spain win its first one in a long time. And whoever wins has had a great tournament. Spain's had a great tournament, incredible defense. I think they've only given up one goal all tournament. Argentina's shown a resilience, ability to come back over and over again. So just rooting for a good game. Yeah, it's hard. If I'm picking on politics, I don't particularly like either team. But I'm not picking on, I can't pick on politics or I'll stop watching football. But yeah, it's not the final I dreamt of. But there's a Women's World Cup next year, and I suspect that some interesting teams will emerge in that World Cup too. Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see if the teams that are playing today, and the game starts in like 3 minutes, so I should turn it on, are even like deeply invested. I would be. I would love to finish third place in a World Cup. It'd be a dream of mine. But I understand why you want to win it or not win it. Oh, game starts in 2 hours. Great. Well, then I'll keep signing. Thought the game started at 3. Well, what do I know? Great. I can finish my signing for the day and then watch it in peace. Can you say hi to Ray? Sure. Hi, Ray. Is it possible to listen to episodes of The Away End without advertisements? It is not. I know. The ad content ratio feels unbalanced. That's a very generous way of putting it, Michael. I appreciate your generosity. It's because So we made that podcast with our friend Sean, who works at iHeart. And, you know, Sean was in my wedding. He's been one of my friends, my closest friends since I was 14 years old. And so we made it with him. And part of making a podcast with a certain company is that you may not feel like there's an alignment between the ads and the content. There is not a ad-free way to listen currently, but, you know, who knows what the future holds for the away end. Yeah, if you have YouTube Premium, you don't have ads. So you could watch it on YouTube, and then you have sort of less ads. That would be my recommendation. Yeah, I mean, the truth is, whoever wins the World Cup didn't really win the World Cup, because Cape Verde really won the World Cup, right? So like, there's two teams that are going to go home happy, and one is Spain or Argentina, whoever wins tomorrow, and the other is Cape Verde. So, yeah, I have 0 ads when I watch on YouTube. All right. Are we going to keep making it after the World Cup? I don't know. I'd like to, but I don't know if it's going to be possible. My schedule gets pretty hairy starting in early September, so it's going to be challenging, even in the best of circumstances. We'll see. All right, let's lock in for a bit. Jen says to stop looking at you guys and lock in, but I just can't. I can't lock all the way in right now. I don't know why. Oh, that was a bad signature. I got to save it. Saved it with the spiral. Oh, I love the Red Dead story. I think it's brilliant writing. And in general, like, I used to way underestimate video games as works of art. Now I understand that every kind of art has its own peculiar and particular beauty, and that you can, I mean, the thing about art, right, is that you use the materials of the world to evoke real emotion through simulation of some kind, right? And whether that's, drawing a painting of a pipe and writing Ceci pas une pipe underneath it, or it's making a painting of a starry night, or it's writing Beloved, or making a video game. Making video games or movies is an interesting kind of art because it's such a sprawling collaboration, because no one person makes it alone. And I find that very beautiful as well. So I've come around big time to video games as art. Hello? I'm streaming.
Okay.
You can come in here and say hi. What?
Nothing.
What were you going to do?
Watch TV.
Well, it is kind of hard to watch TV. That would be a copyright violation. So you want to watch TV on mute by chance? Not so much? All right. You're the best.
Love you too.
Our remote doesn't have a headphone jack. It would be cool if it did. But no, it definitely doesn't. There is no way to listen to TV without everyone listening to the TV. Yeah, and then sometimes you're right. Beautiful video games will be made by one person, which is an astonishment, right? Yeah. So I just think it's art like any other art, like writing fiction or making paintings or whatever. In general, art is such a flimsy word for what we're all trying to do in the world, right? Which is elicit real feeling from each other. So once I'm done with this stack, I'll be done with this box. And once I'm done with this box, I only have 2,500 to go. So that's probably actually a little more than 3,000. But at any rate, I'm getting there. That's the point. I'm making progress. And it's funny because the first 50,000, you don't even think about finishing, right? It's just pure Sisyphean work where you're just rolling the ball up the hill, knowing that it's going to roll back down and you're going to roll it up the hill again for essentially forever. Road trips are like that too, right? Like the first 12 hours of a 14-hour drive, you don't think about finishing. It's only the last 2 hours that you start to feel anxious about oh, we're actually going to get there. It's actually going to happen. That feeling is starting to come over me. I'm starting to feel oh, I'm actually going to finish. And then you start to get anxious about it and you start to think about finishing. And I just need to stay in the mindset of doing the work, doing the thing. How was my Norwegian vacation? It was great. I really enjoyed Norway. It was a beautiful country, lovely people. I've been to so many places this year. I've been to Sierra Leone. I've been to the Philippines. I've been to Norway. I've been to France. And I haven't had a bad time on a trip. Everybody's been really nice to me. I thought Norway was physically, like geographically, just stunning, just gorgeous. And, you know, I've never seen fjords before. I'd never seen all the run. They had so much running water. They had waterfalls like I've never seen before. And we were biking. So also I wasn't on my phone all day, which was amazing, an amazing feeling. And I just biked through your beautiful country. It was awesome. I think I could make a go of it in Norway. What's the climate like? It was moderate. You know, I was comfortable in pants and a t-shirt most days, but that's summertime, so it's not always summertime. And I was also working all day, like I was moving my body on the bike. So, but wintertime it seems pretty dark and cold. In the summer, it's very bright and warm and lovely. Uh, but yeah, it was very, very nice. I would be interested to go back in the winter and see if I can take it. I suspect I can't. Hi, it's me, Arthur Pizzamas shirt. That's a great idea. I should make sure that the DFTBA team knows about hi, it's me, Arthur. Yeah, when we were in France, it was the hottest temperature ever recorded in France, and my brother reminded us. Hottest temperature ever recorded in France so far. Do I have a favorite work of Camus? Probably The Myth of Sisyphus, but I like The Stranger a lot too. I just reread The Stranger. I read a translation of it in which The Stranger, the title is The Outsider, which I thought was an interesting translation choice, and I still loved it, man. It's a fascinating book, but I like the essays more because I don't really like. I have to say, novels of ideas aren't my favorite. Like I'm on record as not loving Ayn Rand. I also don't love Lord of the Flies because it's too much of a novel of ideas for me. And even really good novels of ideas, like 1984, Brave New World, or what's another example? Anyway, they just don't light me up the way that the books that I love the most light me up. It's just not my genre, I guess. But and so that's why I think I like Camus' essays a little more. I mean, I like 1984. I think it's a brilliant book. I think it's very accomplished, but it's still a novel of ideas. Like the novel it feels flimsy unless you're thinking about it in terms of its philosophy. But its philosophy is very good, and it's very funny in parts, and I do like it. I like Animal Farm a lot as well, but that's another obvious sort of like, I don't know. I never want art to descend merely into the parable, I guess. Slaughterhouse-Five is kind of a novel of ideas. I don't know. For me, Slaughterhouse-Five works really well as a novel. Of course, it has ideas in it, but it works really well as a novel on its own. And it's very inventive. It's very difficult to tell a story that's unstuck in time, and it does that very well. Whereas like 1984 is pretty standard in its structuring. What's my opinion of Fahrenheit 451? Another very good novel of ideas. It's very good, but it is a novel of ideas to me. That's probably unfair. I'm probably not being fair. I mean, I'm taking digs at some of the greatest fiction of the 20th century. So maybe I need to make space in my canon for novels of ideas a little bit more. But I'm not making space for The Lord of the Flies. Refuse to do it. Handmaid's Tale is a great novel. That's a great question. See, again, like Slaughterhouse-Five, I think it works really well as a novel. It is not as inventive structurally as Slaughterhouse-Five is, but I think it works so well as a novel. I think it transports you so effectively. So you're not just thinking about the ideas of the novel, although obviously that's infecting you in a profound and lasting way, as it should in every novel, right? Like no one would say Beloved is a novel of ideas, and yet it's a novel with like the biggest ideas possible about the most important things in American life. And so it's whether the novel, to me, it's whether the novel, I don't know. I got to think more about this actually. I'm too much in my head right now. Yeah, that's exactly how I feel about Lord of the Flies, is that it convinces people that we're worse than we are as a species. It makes a case for humanity that is out of line with my understanding of humanity. And in fact, the real examples we have of kids who get shipwrecked together are that they collaborate and cooperate and don't form tribes. So I don't really buy the underlying arguments of the novel. And aside from its underlying arguments, I don't find it particularly well written or interesting. But I'm a hater, so that's maybe I'm not being fair to it. Lots of people said I haven't been fair to it, and they're probably right. I'm probably wrong. I usually am wrong when I have strong opinions. Which reminds me, I've been thinking recently about righteous indignation, and how like every time I feel righteous indignation and like express it really loudly, I end up feeling bad, and I end up regretting it. I've been thinking about that. I think lots of people can experience and express righteous indignation, but I think I almost have too much like power in the world to express it the way that I've been expressing it. So maybe I should be a little nicer about Lord of the Flies. Um, yeah, I think I'm definitely going to make this a members only live stream now that I've just dissed Lord of the Flies. Yeah, I read The Color Purple when I was in high school, between 10th and 11th grade. This was summer reading for me. That book lit me up, man. That's a bad signature. I got to fix it. I love that book so much. What are my thoughts on Clockwork Orange? I've never read it, I'm embarrassed to say. I've seen the movie, but I've never read the book, so can't comment on it. Imagine if Lord of the Flies takes is what gets John canceled. I mean, it's going to be something. Nobody gets to have an audience forever. And maybe it'll be my Lord of the Flies take. Who knows? Did I ever have a Scholastic Book Fair? I sure did. That's where I got my Guinness Books of World Records, which I loved as a kid. How many do we have to go? We have less than 3,000. I would say we have about 2,700 to go, maybe 2,800 to go. No, yeah, closer to 2,800 to go. My Lord of the Flies take was that I'm not crazy about that book. What is the last book you read that isn't your own? Canon by Paige Lewis. I just reread it because I read it when it was in Galley, and then I reread it when it came out as a finished book. And I love that book so much. It's so weird and lovely and strange and endless, and its fascinations. You know how like in a book anything can happen? I tend to agree with you, Raphael, about canceling, because a lot of the people on the right who get canceled find that they have bigger audiences and more money than ever. But you know what I love about canon is that, you know how in a book, like at any point, like the author could theoretically write like, and then Miles died, and then Miles is dead. In canon, like that power is used. Like anything can happen and anything does happen. The whale talks because like the whale talks. now do Catcher in the Rye. I love Catcher in the Rye, unfortunately. Catcher in the Rye was a hugely important book to me when I was in high school for deeply personal reasons that I can't get into. But like that book made me feel seen like no other book did. So I love it. I know it's deeply flawed, but I still love it. I love a lot of deeply flawed books, like mine. In general, I think like a deeply flawed book can still be really important to a reader, and we shouldn't take that away from them when possible, unless we really need to. Yeah, I mean, Catcher doesn't hold up perfectly, I'll say that, but there are parts of it that are still so tender and so sad. And I mean, as a teenager, I didn't fully get how sad that book is, but it's incredibly sad. What's one of my favorite female protagonist books? Beloved. Beloved is my favorite female protagonist book, probably, because it's my favorite American novel, or at least one of them. Color Purple, which someone mentioned, another great female protagonist book. But I also like, I also like Emily Henry books, which tend to be female protagonists. So I try to read pretty broadly. I try to like. I don't always do a good job, but I try to. Oh, my shoulder hurts, y'all, but I'm almost done. Got like 300 to go at the most, so just need to power through. I need a cheaper tier. I can't have a cheaper tier because YouTube takes too much money. So I think they take $2 regardless. So I'm sorry. You can sign up for a gift membership. Lots of people gift memberships. Jen can tell you how to do that. Ooh, shoulder hurts. My favorite Emily Henry book, probably People We Meet on Vacation. I thought that book was just lovely, and I enjoyed the movie as well. All right, I gotta stop. Almost done. Then I won't sign well, I will sign. I keep telling myself I'm almost done, but in fact, I have 30,000 to go. 35,000 to go. All right, back at it. You vote for a hydration break? I'm good. I already had a pause to hydration. Besides books, what's my favorite type of media? Probably movies. I love movies. I wrote Hollywood Ending as a love story to movies. Kind of wrote Paper Towns as a love story to books, and this is kind of a love story to movies. Looking forward to being in Minnesota. I love Minneapolis and St. Paul, beautiful cities, and looking forward to being there so much. Hope to see some old friends there. Got a couple poet friends who live in Minneapolis, and novelist friends, and friends who don't work in the arts. So hopefully I'll get to see some folks and get to see a lot of Nerdfighteria as well. I don't really have PT exercises for the shoulder. Maybe I need to go and do PT specific to the shoulder, but I did after. But I don't know. It's just like it's just going to be the nature of the shoulder thing with the arthritis is that it just kind of like doesn't get much better, unfortunately. Do I have an all-time favorite movie? I do. My all-time favorite movie is Harvey. It's Harvey, the Mary Chase play from 1950 that was adapted to the screen by Mary Chase herself, the genius playwright. I think it's the greatest movie ever made. I really do. It's just got everything that I need. It's got a person with serious mental illness who's treated as valuable in the social order, even though he doesn't participate in the social order in traditional ways like working. It's got an invisible white rabbit who's 6 feet 3 inches tall named Harvey. It's got some of the best lines in the history of literature, like nobody ever brings anything small into a bar, and in this world, Elwood, you must be oh so smart or oh so pleasant. For years I was smart, I recommend pleasant. Harvey, man. Harvey. Yeah. Benedict Cumberbatch correctly points out that the cool part of being on tour is not anything that I do on stage. It's Nerdfighteria existing in real life and people getting to hang out together before the shows and after the shows and having some communal experiences, hopefully within the shows. That is overwhelmingly the most important part of what happens. Like what I say, it's interesting. It kind of takes the pressure off actually, because like what I do is not quite irrelevant, but like not the center of the show. So yeah. All right, I gotta move my leg. Leg's falling asleep. I'm falling apart here, y'all. But look at this. I'm almost done. I'm almost done. All right, let's just get it done. This is the second to last box. Then we do the last box tomorrow. Then we pack up all the boxes, put the shipping labels on them. The boxes get picked up and taken to the printer on Monday. And then the books get printed, which is pretty freaking exciting. Yeah, so some of the shows will be live streamed. Some of the venues have the capacity to live stream them, like semi-professionally, which is great. And then some of them I'll just live stream from my computer, which will be fun too. Just a different vibe. We'll kind of play it by ear as each night emerges. But I'm excited. I'm so excited to be on tour, and like I really hope that it's something I get to do a few more times in my career because it's so special. Like it's so wonderful. I'm so lucky to be able to do it. So I know I've got some great memories of touring and hope to make more this time around. All right, we're into the last 200 for sure now. I can feel it just by knowing how close I am to the Toyonoji Odatula book. Yeah, the streams will be on this channel. I might do one on Vlogbrothers, but like in general, I don't like. I don't love. Actually, I was going to stream on Vlogbrothers, but I couldn't convince YouTube that I was me, because I don't have my email address on my. I don't have my email on my phone, and they were like, "We need to prove that it's really you. Like, take a picture of this QR code on your phone." And I was like, "I can't. I'm not logged in on my phone." And it was like, "Well, then you can't make a live stream." And I was like, "All right, fair enough." I'd rather you err on the side of caution when it comes to that stuff. So in general, I think that most of them will be live streamed on John's channel. I might do one on Vlogbrothers if we get a good public one or a good one that's like with Hank and me, for instance. That would be fun. But I try not to clog up Vlogbrothers too much with ancillary content, and because I really think of it as the place that hosts this 20-year-long conversation between Hank and me that now includes all of y'all. So I don't want to like mess that up. I don't want to mess up the vibes over there, even if it would sell more show tickets. We'd be doing a European tour. I hope to be traveling in Europe next year, but I don't know if it's going to happen for next year or when it's going to happen. I mean, life's pretty busy here. The kids are still fairly young. I feel bad taking a lot of time away from work, home time when the kids are still young, still at home. Are there any extra doodles on some of the signed pages? Sure, I'll do one right now. So sometimes I make these spirals, especially when I'm not happy with the signature, so that people will know that it's like people will feel like they got a special signature instead of feeling like they got a bad one. And those spirals are representative of a Raymond Pettibon painting that you can Google by Googling like Raymond Pettibon turtles all the way down. It's this painting that he made that, to me anyway, like captures what it's like to have spiraling thoughts better than any painting I've ever seen. Do you happen to know if some shows are almost sold out? Yes, some shows are almost sold out. Toronto is almost sold out. Pittsburgh is going to sell out. Winston-Salem, North Carolina is either sold out or close to sold out. So some of them are close to sold out, but at a lot of them, there are still lots of tickets available. So don't panic just yet unless you are wanting to go to the Toronto show. Then do panic a little bit. All right, we're getting down to the nitty gritty now. Maybe 150 to go. This is going to happen. I'm going to finish this box, and I'm going to finish it at a relatively easy hour, which is great because my goddaughter's birthday party is today, and I got to go to that. So when will NYC tickets be available? Hopefully next week. Hopefully early next week, hopefully by Tuesday of next week, but I'm not positive yet. It's a big venue though, so it shouldn't sell out immediately. Well, this pen is getting down to its last signatures, but I'm pretty committed to getting this pen through this pile, if at all possible. So I'm going to do this thing that I sometimes do where I do this. It's not Madison Square Garden. That would be cool. I know people who've played Madison Square Garden as like creators, and I think it's like the coolest thing I've ever heard of, but no. Anyway, I don't have the like charisma to fill a space like Madison Square Garden. Like I don't have it. I don't have that John Mulaney thing, man. So even if I could, I wouldn't. I'd rather do like 3 shows at Carnegie Hall than 1 show at Madison Square Garden. When are the audiobook narrators going to be announced? I don't know. Pretty soon. Somebody guessed the audiobook, one of the audiobook narrators the other day in stream. So yeah, you could just guess and maybe you'll be right. Yes, exactly. You can watch a sport called Dungeons and Dragons in Madison Square Garden, Benedict. Exactly. Jeff Goldblum. That's a guess. Yeah, I really didn't think they were going to guess it, Jen, but I was wrong. No, it's not Carnegie Hall. That would be amazing. It'd be great to go back to Carnegie Hall to launch Hollywood Ending, but no, I think that was a one-time thing in my life to play Carnegie Hall with the Mountain Goats and Kimya Dawson and Hank and so many of my friends and family members. That was It's one of the greatest nights of my life. I'd love to come back to Brazil. I was in Brazil in 2015, but it's been a long time. I mean, I've been in Brazil since then, but not in a professional capacity. So I'd love to go back to Brazil and meet readers there. I would really like to do that. And I love my Brazilian publisher, Intrinseca, so much. So I'd love to support them as well. So hopefully I'll be able to do that sooner rather than later. Would you and Hank ever do a Dear Hank and John tour? We used to do that, actually. We used to do a Dear Hank and John tour, or a Dear Hank and John adjacent tour anyway. And it was really fun, and it sold pretty well, and it raised a lot of money for Partners in Health. Hank is just so busy now. Like, y'all, Hank Green does not stop. And he has really gotten himself into a pickle where he started so many things that are ongoing, right? Like, he didn't start things like the away end that, you know, might end with the World Cup. He didn't start things like the Anthropocene Review that culminate in a book. Like, he starts things that just keep going forever. Yeah, we were doing a Dear Hank and John tour like right when COVID hit, like right in March of 2020. In fact, we had to cancel the last 2 shows of the tour because of COVID. So how much more time would Hank have if he left Twitter? That's a great point, Benedict. He probably could go on tour with me if he would just quit Twitter. Somebody recently asked me on Instagram, and it is somewhat like leading. It's hard to read tone, of course, like that's the whole problem with the internet. But someone asked me, why haven't you shared the news of your book with your 4 million Twitter followers? And I was like, first off, I used to have 5.6 million Twitter followers. So like, how far has Twitter fallen that I only have 4 million now? Secondly, because I hate it there, and I think it's super bad for the social order. I have talked about the book on Blue Sky, even though I don't love any many-to-many text-based microblogging services. I think they all have the same fundamental architecture that like leads to outrage farming and misrepresentation and lack of nuance and etc. But I mean, Twitter is by far the worst because of its insane owner and really problematic moderating structures. Rosianna has achieved enlightenment because she never thinks about Twitter or X, except when, I think it's better to call it X because it's more humiliating to its users, except when we talk about it, which is fair. I mean, I talk about it mostly because I'm concerned about Hank's use of it, but also I do think it's an ongoing, I mean, yeah, I think it's an ongoing problem. If I had to write a play about this World Cup, what would it be about? It would definitely be about Cape Verde. I mean, maybe it would be about Mexico, the Mexico national team, which I think made an incredible story. But I think Cape Verde's game against Argentina was itself a play. I don't know how you make a play about football. I guess you have a lot of it in locker rooms instead of on the field. Yeah, I think the only S-tier social media platform is YouTube, but I'm very biased because YouTube is where the heart of my community is and the heart of like my, you know, the communities I'm part of are. So I'm very biased. Ooh, my shoulder hurts, but I'm almost done. Now I'm in the last 50. I'm really discounting my growing audience on Twitch, says Ling Yi. That's true. That's true. I'm slowly blowing up on Twitch. Very slowly blowing up on Twitch. All right, here we go. 40. I'm just guessing. 39. 38. 37. I'll see y'all tomorrow, by the way. 36 for the last stream. 35. I want to stream the signing of the last one for sure. 34, and that'll hopefully be before the World Cup final. 33. I'm still just guessing. 32. 31. I don't think I guessed right. 30. 29. I don't know what to do. Any choice I make will limit my options, which is both wonderful and terrible. Do you have any advice? Oh, man. Theo, you've discovered the fundamental rule of being a human, which is that every choice you make limits your options, but you still have to make choices because otherwise you end up doing nothing because you're so paralyzed by the thought of making a choice. It's a terrible conundrum. And you're having it for the first time. It is true that there are things that you will not do. If you become a doctor, you will not become a lawyer. If you become a microbiologist, you will probably not become a car salesman, and so on. And yet, you have to make the choices anyway. I think it's very unfair to make people early on in their college career choose a major. But I still think if your university makes you do it, you got to do it. So I would, if I were you, I would choose 2 majors. That's what I did when I was in college. I majored in English and religion, both of the major producers of lots of income. And that's what I would do if I were you. Is I would say, can I have two areas of study? That way you're hedging your bets a little bit. I tried not to make those choices until the last possible second, which I'm not sure I recommend, but that's what I did. I didn't actually choose a major till I was a junior in college, and I went to my advisor and she was like, you got to pick a major. And I was like, well, what should I pick? And she was like, well, you've taken enough classes in English and religion that you could major in either of those. And I said, I think I'll major in both of those. But yeah, I mean, definitely, what you study doesn't have to be what you do, and you don't only have to do one thing in your life and so on. I think all of that is true. All right. Last one or last 2. Oh, this pen is so dead. All right. And we'll put a little spiral on that one just to keep it real. Okay, friends. I did it. Ow. My shoulder hurts real bad. But look at all these signatures. That's a lot of signatures. That's enough slices, as the meme goes. All right, let's do some manual jogging. Then I'll do a little bit of real electro jogging for you here at the end of the stream. So many of you have been here suffering through for these many 1 hour and 20 minutes waiting for the electro jogger. I can't deny it to you. Okay. Some more signatures. All right, rock and roll. Let's check out that electro jogger. There she is. Or he, or they. I don't know. I don't know the electro jog's pronouns. All right, there it is though. All right, ready? We're gonna jog. We're gonna jog 3 times. Goes in like this. Not looking good. But it's about to look way better. just comes out looking perfect every time. Every single time. It never gets old to see chaos become order. Perfect. Oh. I'm not going to lie, y'all. I'm pretty excited to be done. I'm not going to be sad when this is over. I'm going to be a little relieved when I get a little time off at least. Juggity, 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 juggity. And that one's the biggest one yet, but it's still, the merge is perfect. Just perfect order. Can go right into the box. It's good stuff. Good stuff. Thank y'all for being here. Hope you had a good day. Hope you're having an okay day wherever you are. And DFTBA. I'll see you tomorrow, probably. All right. Bye.